I actually prepared something. So let's go to terminal here and let's go to the API code, and I actually have the cat or ls, okay, ls, and here I have the seed data. So inside of the seed data I have backgrounds, I have classes and races in JSON format. So we're going to use this and we're going to populate data, and for that we can use the Mongoose, I think it is called Mongoose seed library. So we're going to take it. So let's go to the browser and let's search for Mongoose seed library. Okay, so here it is, the first one. Yeah, we'll do that. So as you can see here, all we need to do, we need to have the seeder, we connect to the database, we load all the models that we want to seed, then we clear models if we want to. I usually clear models, and then we populate it with data. And the data itself should be in format of just array of objects with 2 attributes, model and documents. So what I have now is actually not that. So let's move this seed folder into here. Okay. So here it is. And you can see, for example, for backgrounds, I have only the array of objects of backgrounds, but now I need to do a little bit more. So let's create a new file here in seeds, and I will call it data.json. I can use JSON, yeah, JSON. And that's going to be array, and that's going to be an array of objects, and the thing that we have there is model, and the model is the, for example, background, and then we'll have documents, and that's going to be an array. And I'm going to duplicate it 2 times, 1, 2, commas here, and another one is race, and another one is class, but class is a reserved word, so we'll use it like character class. Okay, and after that I just going to go here and just copy everything and paste it here. So that's backgrounds, so down like that. I hope so. The same thing we go with races. So I'm just gonna go to data for race down, and the same thing goes with, oops, that's classes. There were classes, right? So classes, no, there were races. Okay, it's too late for me. So that's race, yeah. And for classes, we're going back to class, and I'm just gonna paste it into here. Okay, so let's have a look at the structure of all of this. So we have 3 models. We need to create Mongoose models for them. So the first one, for example, is background. So very simple. Each object is just have name and description. That's all that we want to have, and all we want to render to the user. The classes is more, yeah, they are very simple as well, name and description as well. But the race is a little bit more complicated. So here we have name, description, and then we have traits, and traits have name and description as well. And then some races have sub-races, and these sub-races have name and description and traits as well. Like you can see here, elves, they have sub-races and high elf description and traits of the high elf here. So that's this very basic structure of our models. So we need to go to the models here, and let's create a new model. Let's start with background.js. And of course I have a snippet for it. So for background we'll have name, and its type is string and required is true, and description is just string. Done. So we finished with background. So next we'll have the simplest one is class. So we'll have character class.js. Again, snippet here. And I'm just gonna paste it here as well. So name and description, that's all that we need to have. And the last one is going to be the race.js. So we have race. It's also have name and description, but then it has traits. And that's an array of objects, each of which have the name and description. And then it has the subraces, also an array, and also will have it's an array of objects, name and description, but also inside of this we'll have another trait for this particular subrace, and it's also an array of object like this. So 3 models. Nice. Now we can use this seeder to get data and to populate data with these models. So for that we need to create some kind of a script. So let's go back to our seed folder here. So inside of the seed folder, so we have data. We do not need to have these things here, so we can delete it, but I will leave it just for reference. And inside of here, let's create another file, and we call it seed.js. So this is where we're gonna seed stuff. So we're gonna import seeder from Mongoose seed. Okay, I need to install it. Yarn add mongoose -seed. So next we need to connect to the database, and we store everything in our environment variable. But we will run this file separately from our application, so we need to input this .env as well. So we'll have imp .env from .env, and then we'll just have this .env config. So that's actually, I think that will do it. So let's have a look. Console.log, and we'll just have the process.env.mongo URL, I think we call it. Let's have a look. Yeah, MongoDB URL. So if it works, then it will work. So we need to go to the package.json, and let's add new command here. We'll call it seed, and that's going to be the Babel node, and we go to seed.seed.js. So now here, let's yarn seed, and we have MongoDB localhost AL hub. So it works, that's nice. So now we can use this to connect to the database. So we'll have seeder.connect, and we just use it. And then we'll use the callback function. I'm not sure whether this library uses the promises, so that's just the throwaway script, so we'll have the callbacks here. So after we connected to it, we want to load all the models. So we'll have seeder dot, and that's just information from the documentation basically. So we'll have load models, and that's gonna take then an array of paths to files. So we'll have source, models, background, and another 3 is race and character, character class. So after we loaded it, we want to clear it if it exists, and then populate it. So we'll do seeder dot clear models, yeah, and then just the array of our models, like background, and then we'll have race, and then we'll have character class. And when it's done, we'll have another callback function. When it's done, we want to populate it. So we'll have seeder dot populate, populate models, and then we need to have some data. So we're gonna import it in a second, and after we've done, we need to disconnect from the database. So we'll do seeder dot disconnect. Okay. Oh man, something's wrong. So now let's import data from data.json, and that actually should do it, I think. Let's try it out. So let's run yarn seed. Successfully created document of race model. So it did something. Let's have a look in the robot 3T. I'm just gonna drag it here. So as you can see here, we have the backgrounds, we have the character classes, and we have races. And all of this stuff is actually added from our file. And for each trait, for example, also object ID is generated, so it worked. Nice. So now we have races that we can pull from the server and deliver to the user, to the client. That's nice. So that's just the throwaway script. But basically what we did, we just created this data JSON file with all the data, then we connected to the database, we loaded models that we want to seed data into, we cleared everything, so this way we can always start from scratch, but keep in mind that IDs will change. So if you have the IDs, it will, destroy all the data. And yeah, and then we just populate these models with data. Nice. So let's commit this particular change. So what we did here is we created seed data for races, backgrounds, and classes. Okay, phew. So let's go back to React stuff. So in React, we need to make requests to the server to get this data about races so we can render them here. But before we do that, let's get rid of this disabled stuff and let's just try to have the different steps. If we go back to React, so I'm going to just remove this disable for now. Just need to remember that I wanted it to be this way. And now what I want to do is every time when user clicks on it, on this button, we change the state. We change the state to step. So on click, we'll have this state, this set state, and we'll have step equal to 1. And now I'm just gonna use it everywhere. So there's gonna be step 2, there's gonna be step 3, okay, step 4, and step 5. Let's format it. Nice. So now, underneath the nav bar, we'll have another div, and inside of it, we'll have the condition. We'll have, so if this state dot step equals to 1, then we're gonna render something like div, and inside of this div, h2, and here we'll have step 1. And I'm gonna just copy it 5 times. 2, 3, 4, exciting, right? 5. Okay, so let's have a look. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and we need to copy the active stuff. So here we have the class name. I'm just going to copy it and just replace everything with step 2, step 3, step 4, and step 5. So now, yeah, we have step, and we changing the active state of each of this stuff. That's nice. Another thing that I want to do is, this animation effect that when we change it, we just fade in new data. That's just the way for me to procrastinate, because making this request to the API, then just handle all this data, I don't want to do that. I want to do something fun. So yeah, let's do the animation stuff. Why not? So how do we do that? Well, usually I use the Glamorous library for a lot of stuff. So when I need to add some CSS into my React projects, I just pull up the Glamorous. So let's install yarn add Glamour and Glamorous. So Glamorous depends on Glamour. And now we can define new component styled with animations, with keyframes. So for that we need to import. Sometimes VS Code just forgets how to do the autocomplete stuff. Nice. Okay, so we need to have everything as Glamour object from Glamour. And then we'll import Glamorous from Glamorous. So now we can define new function that just, again, straight from the documentation stuff. So we can define const fade in, for example, and that's going to be a function that takes props, but we do not need to have any props in this particular case. And here we define the style, and the style itself is going to be glamour.css.keyframes. So the keyframes, we just pass in an object here, and we define the 0%. So on 0%, what I want to have is I want to have opacity to equal 0. And when we have 100%, I want the opacity to equal 1. So basically, when we have 0, it's invisible. When we have 100%, it's fully visible, and it is a keyframe, so it will animate everything between these 2 points, 0 and 100%. So now, from here, I'm just return the object animation that equals to this particular style, and the duration of this animation. So I will make it 1 second. So that's the constant that we can use on our new, for example, fade in div. So let's define new fade in div component, and that's going to be glamorous component div. And here I will just pass down this fade in animation, fade in stuff. So basically, what is this fade in? It's just an object with setup animation on it. Very simple. Okay, so now we can use this fade in div instead of the divs right here. Okay? So let's just have all of these divs, and I'm just gonna replace it with fade in. Let's just do fade in div, because that's the that wasn't good, and for some reason I removed div here. So let's come back it here, and fade div, of course I need to make it capital F because that's the component. So now you can see it fades in. So, and when we click, it fades in, it fades in, it fades in. Cool stuff. Okay, that's good. We haven't solved this problem. It wasn't even on the horizon. Another thing that you can do it like this. So that's just the easiest way to do that. All we do is just using CSS keyframes, right? We do not use any kind of other libraries. But there is a library, React Animations, from Formidable Labs, I think. React Animations. Yeah, from Heroku. They have it on Heroku's, but Animations. Do I have it? React Animations. Formidable Labs, yeah, Formidable Labs. They have this library, React Animations, and basically what it does, it has a lot of these built-in animations, CSS animation stuff, so you can just input any kind of animation here and use it with the Glamour. So let's do this as well. And I'm working right now on the animations chapter for my premium course as well, so I know I'm very sorry for my premium purchases that's taking so long, but they are coming. Animations and testing. These chapters are in the works, and I'm doing my best to finish them. So here, let's do yarn add, and let's just install this React Animations. And now here we'll just import the animation that we want. So for example, we want to maybe slide in. Let's try slide in from React Animations. Right? Do we have slide in? Slide in down, or slide in left. Let's go with slide in left animation. So now we have this slide in animation, but we need to pass it down to the glamorous stuff here. So keyframes. So what we can do, we can just do like one-liner. Like we can have animation, and we can specify that we want to have 1 second animation, and the animation itself will be the glamour.css keyframes, and we just pass down slide in left inside of it, and I can get rid of this stuff. Have you seen this? It slides in. How cool is that? So yeah, very simple for very simple animations. So now you can use this fade in div. You can actually define it somewhere else, and maybe we will actually extract it later in some other div. Right now, I don't know why we're doing this, but I just thought, why not? Yeah, but let's get back to fade in. I like it much better, fade in, and we're gonna use fade in here as well. Fade in. And here we go. Nice. So now the time has come to actually fetch data from the server and handle our form. But you know what? I actually need to go to sleep. It's 2 a.m. right now, so we will handle it in the next coding session where we actually focus on this particular form, and I will plan it a little bit better. And yeah, we have everything that we need. We have a foundation to go on. Okay, so thank you very much for your time. If you like this episode, please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends. If you want to support my work, you can donate via PayPal or become a patron, or you can go to the jsfullstacker.com and purchase my course. Also, all the links in the description below. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great day.